Welcome to part 5 of Fake It Till You Make It, SakuAtsu, 10k special, oh my god. Let's get started without further ado. Before they left to their room, Atsumu made them pause at the bottom of the stairs. Sakusa looked at him confused as Atsumu waited until he heard steps coming closer. I'm sorry. It did nothing to clear his confusion until, just before the steps entered the hall, Atsumu pulled him down and into a deep kiss. Sakusa's brain effectively shut down the moment their lips touched. Atsumu's were soft and warm. He moved in perfect sync with his own as his hands kept his cheeks, one entangling itself in his hair, the other feeling down his neck to his collarbone. His skin burned under his touch, but not with the usual desire to push him away. He wanted him closer, wanted his lips to move to the spots his fingers mapped out. He wanted him to leave marks on the perfectly clean canvas of his skin, and he wanted to touch him. He wanted to explore the blonde the same way he wanted to be explored. Only when he heard someone clearing their throat behind them, Sakusa was torn back rudely into reality. Right, this wasn't real. It was just for show. Atsumu didn't kiss him because he desired him in the same way. He kissed him because he was doing him a favor. His lips still burned with invisible flames of passion Atsumu left on him, and his skin still itched to be marked. His heart was racing. It wasn't fair. Why was this happening? Why must he react to Atsumu in this way? He turned around briskly and left to run toward their room. He didn't even check who the person was walking in on them, who it was Atsumu put on a show for. He didn't care. Back in the room, he immediately went for the bag to search for pajamas and saw the ridiculous rainbow ones Atsumu got for them, but ignored them and reached for the plain ones he packed himself before rushing to the bathroom. He took his time scrubbing off the stress of the day until some patches of skin turned angrily red, specifically a small area above his collarbone. When he returned to the room, Atsumu was already there in a simple t-shirt and shorts. His hair was damp. He looked at Kiyomi apologetically, though his expression darkened further when he saw the red spot. Ami, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to push things too far. I didn't even give you the chance to deny or say. You didn't. It's okay. We agreed on this beforehand, and I don't have a problem with it. Atsumu didn't look convinced in the slightest, and his gaze wandered to the red spot again. Don't push yourself, Kiyomi. You shouldn't. Not for them and not for me. But he wanted it. He wanted the kiss, and so much more that he couldn't say it. The words got stuck in his throat, and if he told him, wouldn't it look like he used him to get what he wanted? Like this was just a twisted game to him? Atsumu, I really don't care. Don't worry. After a bit of hesitation, he added, You were great today. Thank you. Atsumu's head perked up, and he gave him a small smile. No problem, Ami. I really like your siblings, you know? They are nice. Yes, they are. But don't let them fool you. They can be super annoying. And Atsumu laughed. He would have never imagined he'd ever hear Sakusa say such things, but here they were. You have such a soft spot for them, admit it. Sakusa rolled his eyes, but observed him fondly as the blonde laughed. A warmth spread within his chest. Suddenly, Atsumo's smile faltered, and he got up to retrieve something from his bag. Sakusa sat down on the bed, expecting him to follow soon after, and suddenly he stood before him, a small box of cream in hand. It helps with irritated skin. May I? Sakusa was stunned. When did Atsumu start to care so much? He nodded as if in a trance, and soon felt the gentle fingers applying the cool ointment on the affected area. He didn't feel the warmth rising as before, but his heart still hammered wildly in his chest, so strong, so loud that he was afraid Atsumu could feel or even hear it. There, all set. He was still so incredibly close to him as their eyes met, and for a moment made no attempt to get away. For a moment, Sakusa dared to imagine what it would be like if he leaned forward now and stole a kiss. One that undoubtedly was meant for no one but them. Before he could decide, before he could so much as realize what he was doing, Atsumu pulled away again. He stammered, something incoherent, and Sakusa wasn't sure if he simply failed to concentrate or if it was Atsumu, but he didn't understand a word. They crawled up under the covers together without exchanging another word. There was a safe distance between them, as much as the bed allowed. When Sakusa woke up, the safe distance between them was gone. His eyes opened to the image of Atsumu's peaceful expression as he snuggled up to his side, and he found himself holding his breath as not to disturb him. The golden hair seemed to glow in the morning sun, and few freckles he never noticed from afar decorated the skin. He was gorgeous. There was a certain softness in his otherwise defined features when he slept, something pure that urged Sakusa to reach his hand out. He wanted to touch him, if just to confirm that he was real. Within the spiker blossomed the desire to wrap the blonde in his arms and protect him from anything wishing him harm. He couldn't explain it. They weren't this close, and even if Atsumu was strong, confident, and cocky, why should he want to be protected? Yet, in the tender light of the morning sun, he seemed vulnerable, almost fragile. Sakusa felt the rising and falling of Atsumu's chest, was nearly convinced he could hear his heartbeat as well as he allowed himself to indulge the moment a little longer. His eyes fell shut, and he concentrated on nothing but the warmth beside him. His thoughts and worries, his responsibilities, and the family he grew to disdain were driven from his consciousness by the faint touch of Atsumu's hand where it rested just below his clavicle. It was the same area he had touched so tenderly and intently the night before. Sakusa wished to be back in that moment when Atsumu decided to touch him, deliberately and of his own accord. He wished it could have been for them, not just a game of pretend. That moment was interrupted by the sound of the door swinging open, or more precisely by his sister marching in with little regard for the time and situation. Sakusa glared at her, but didn't voice his anger, in fear of waking the sleeping satyr at his side. Luckily, she noticed too, and had the decency to look a little bit guilty before this wicked smirk replaced it. She said nothing and seemed to actually contemplate returning later when Atsumu stirred awake. Sakusa's expression darkened further and he sent her a scorching glare, filled with murderous intent, before turning around to Atsumu with his usual mask of indifference. However, judging by Atsumu's face, it didn't work. He looked at him in a mixture of sleep-induced confusion and something he failed to recognize. A soft smile spread on his lips, his pupils were dilated and trained on him, and his cheeks took a faintly pink color. Sakusa didn't know how to react and scarcely suppressed the urge to touch his face or brush the blonde strands from his forehead. His golden eyes were captivating and he couldn't look away. Hence, he immediately saw the moment Atsumu fully woke up. His eyes widened and the blush darkened, and he averted his gaze only to find his sister standing by the door and getting even more flustered. A tirade of words seemed to assemble at the back of his throat as he stumbled backward and, less than gracefully, fell from the bed. Contrary to anything Sakusa would have imagined, all that he heard was a quiet whine. His eyes widened and he rushed to check on him. "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm fine. There was more, but one glance at Ayuka and he shut up again. Sakusa's brows were knitted together tightly in worry and confusion as he watched him slowly regain his composure and fight himself up from the ground. I'll go to the bathroom real quick. The ace was about to tell him that he could use the one connected to their room, but the setter left at a record speed, leaving a very disheveled-looking Sakusa at the mercy of his sister. And this concludes one of the shorter parts again. I would love to call this part Sakusa being totally whipped or a simp for Atsumu Miya, but I feel like that applies to most of the series. Yet, okay, let's play this. The first game would definitely be Motoya's mischievous plan to get Sakusa to realize that he loves Atsumu. Long title, but it fits. So leave suggestions for names for the other parts in the comments, and now give this video a like if you liked it. Consider checking out my other social media. Consider checking out the Discord in the channel description, and definitely have a wonderful and amazing day, because you are amazing and you deserve it. And if you want more videos like this, just look at these, click on one of these, and yeah, have fun.